Hello everyone, and welcome to a Factorio tutorial. Today we're going to look at early game smelting and kind of the standard build for producing a full belt of iron or copper plate. Full belt means that you'll be producing 15 per second. We're going to look at a yellow belt since again we're at the early part of the game. So in this video I'll show you first how to just kind of how it looks and what the numbers are. Then I'll show a quick build and how I go about building this that you're looking at. And then at the end I'll do a little bit of the math for those who are interested in how we get these numbers. So this is what it looks like. You will have 48 smelters. So these are just the early game stone smelters, which means we do need to feed them with coal. 48 of those. You need to feed it coal here. And the coal is going to go underground and then go into this splitter and split in half. So half of the belt will go up here, half of the belt will go up here, and it'll feed onto this this right side of the belt here. The other side of the belt will be split with a full belt of iron ore. For a full belt of iron ore, you need 30 mining drills. And again, at the end of the video, I'll show the math on that. So 30 mining drills. If you're still with burner drills, you will need to have twice as many. So you'll need 60 burner mining drills since they're twice as slow. Otherwise 30 electric. That'll give you a full belt of ore. Feed that into 48 of these and that'll give you a full belt of iron. If you don't feed it a full belt, then you're not going to get a full belt, which is how this whole game will work. So I'll turn that on while I show you the sort of the building process. So again, this full belt splits in half, this belt splits in half. For coal, you only need a couple miners. I haven't figured out the math because I've never had an issue with it. 2 or 3 electric miners will feed a couple of these factories, so just put a couple down. It's pretty nothing too much to worry about. Now to build this, I always start with my lane of ore and coal, and then just for spacing I'll put down a couple smelters. I'll put down my lane for the plate. Make sure you leave your spaces for the inserters, and then you just do that on the other side, and there's your lane for coal and ore. And again, leave your spaces for inserters. Grab an inserter with Q is how I'm doing that, just Q, and make sure the arrow is facing the correct way. So unload into the smelter, unload plate onto the belt, flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. And there's 4 of your smelters there. Hit Q and grab a pole. Make sure you power all of them. And then you can just copy. So Control C, drag, hold down the mouse button and then just drag and it'll space it. And then if you need to count it quickly, just Control C, highlight it, and you'll see that there are 48 smelters ready to go. And then I'd go about the slower process of actually building it. Up here you need 2 splitters. So you need the splitter to split the coal and the splitter to split the iron. And make sure when you put these belts in that you're on this half of the splitter going up and this half going down. If you do something like this and you make a mistake, I'll show you that, and they're both going the same direction, which I've done more times than I care to admit, then you're going to have a big old mess. So just again, double check, make sure that they're going opposite directions. You can take this coal that you've already done, underground, split, there you go. And then this could even go onto a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th, however many belts. And then if you had a full belt of iron ore or copper ore, you could feed it in there. If I split this, for example, and I did something like this, I would only have half a belt now and half a belt here. So you're only going to get half a belt of iron plate and half a belt of iron plate. So you do have to make sure when you build a new factory and you want a new full belt, you have to produce a full belt. So I would need 30 more drills producing a new belt of ore. So that is what it looks like. If I got a new line of ore, I would now have 2 yellow belts, which I could then either keep separate, or I can merge into a red belt if I so desired. So now just a quick game on the numbers. Let's start with the miner, since that's pretty simple. For the electric miner drills, they produce half of an ore per second. We're going to ignore productivity bonus since we don't have to worry about that in the early game. So 0.5 per second, which means 2 of them will produce 1 every second. Since we need 15 per second, we'll need double that. Okay, so 15 doubled would be 30. That's how we get this 30 number. And I'll have a separate video where I maybe get in the weeds a little more on the math of Factorio, but for this one we're just going to go over the basics here. And then for production, if we look at how long it takes to do a plate of iron or copper, they're both the same, you'll see that it's 3.2 seconds of crafting time. So what you do is you multiply the crafting time by how many you want it to craft per second. So 3.2 seconds of crafting, we want 15 per second for the belt, so that would give us 48 smelters. And it's pretty easy here because we only have to deal with 1 ore. It's easy, or like it only takes 1 ore. If it took more, it might mess that number up. If the crafting speed of a stone furnace was different, we would have to change the math a bit. For example, when we get to this steel furnace, that number is higher, so we'd change it. Again, it's a lot to go into for this video. This is just to show the smelting, but that's how we arrive at both of those numbers. So there is a belt of plate. I hope that will help you get started and maybe help you with your early game factory. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Click like or subscribe if you would want to, and of course have yourselves a very nice day.